Okay, so how to create a speaker series at Burning Man. And I would guess that virtual is not different than the pre-planning for the actual playa. I mean, really the hardest thing about throwing a huge conference on the playa is the fact that you're fucking on the playa. So not having that part is going to make it smooth sailing for you. And I'm really excited about that. So essentially you start with exactly what you perfect your days. And then you want to determine more or less how many speakers each day and what hours you're going to be running. The challenge this year virtually that we've never had before is time zone challenge. So I don't know what you're planning. I help throw the unit on conferences online, and I used to do it when we were in person as well, but it's a 24-hour conference to run through all time zones. And it happens once a month. So I can also put you in touch with Michael Healy and his team who's doing that if you want some insight on that. They've done a pretty good job, and they have 6 Zoom rooms going at the same time for every 20-minute slot. So it's like full on. But essentially what, like the steps, which you've already done the first one, which is decide your days, right? And your topics. Second one would be decide, you know, how long you want to let people speak. I would definitely encourage like 40-minute with 20-minute Q&A and changeover. In digital rooms, changeover is going to be the hardest thing. I don't know what you're planning for tech infrastructure, but obviously that's going to be a separate thing, and it's not necessarily my level of expertise, but I would be able to help in any way that comes. I have good connections with Crowdcast, which might be interesting. And then from there, you make a Google Forms because it's just the easiest, and you like do it, test it, revise it, do it before you send it out, because it if you change it, then the way that it aggregates the data will be affected by the change you've made in the survey. So like double check everything and all the questions. I can definitely send you one of my Google Forms from either Campus Central or from Bronner's, no problem. But it's
Bronner's, that'd be super helpful.
Yes. Essentially what you're asking for is, who are you? What is your mission in the world? What is it that you want to speak on? And then you could have a drop-down list of the choose your day. How long do you think your talk will be? What will people be getting from this talk? Please write an advertisement for it. Please write a bio. Please upload a photo. Please nominate someone else that you think would be a great speaker.
Oh, great.
And but it depends. Like, I know Mystic's heavily curated, or at least that's the kind of reputation. Like, it's not like something where everyone gets in. Like, my first speaker series that I threw on the playa all alone was Decentral, and I had 100 hours of content and more than 60 speakers and 2 stages going at once.
Wow.
Like, the gravitas of that was just so much to manage. But because of that, the way that my call for speakers was, it was like, hey, anyone, like, come do this.
Yeah.
And that's in direct contrast to, like, for example, last year when I threw the psychedelic speakers at speaker series at Bronner's. Yeah. I did that still at the very beginning. I was like, so who speaks on psychedelics? Tag someone who you think would be great. And it's like a wonderful, loving, communal thing for people to just like get that excitement out there pre-playa. Yeah. But then, like, it was like David Bronner and Rick and essentially Zendo and Maps. People were like, wait, like, we already have the entire thing curated. Like, we're not looking for more speakers. We just need you to organize it. And I was like, oh. And so, you know, it's like, I'm sure that there's Mystic lineage of people who normally teach who are already going to be filling like 80% of the slots. So in that way, it will be more organizational for you to just have that centralized location, that Google Forms where they're dropping everything, possibly having access to past year stuff. If you need to reach out and recruit someone, so that handover from a past year to this year. And then once you have the Google form, I mean, it automatically can go into a spreadsheet and you have everyone's names there. You can follow up with them as needed. And then I would make some kind of calendar, whether it's a Google calendar. Clearly I'm like Google centric just because most people have Gmail. It's easy. And so then on that calendar, everyone can see everyone else's thing, and you can make it so that they can view it but not edit it. And then the steps after that, I also last year I curated a whole day of Burners Without Borders conference. And this was an example of something that was small and done poorly. Don't tell anyone that. But like, there was just no circulation. And your biggest challenge, and I mean, now you're coming in, like the virtual world is you're coming into the online conference world, which is so heavily saturated through COVID anyway. But obviously in the Burning Man space, you have your niche audience, plus, all those people who always wish they could go. Like, I'm going to make all my students go.
Right. Important to go to Burning Man. You really just force them into it.
Exactly. If not now, when? The virtual. Exactly. So, I mean, normally on the playa, like with speaker series, your biggest challenge is distribution. And so one of the years that I threw a speaker series, I actually printed out maybe 2,000 schedules to go. And I had a whole team to go and post them on the porta potty. So this is obviously the stuff that you don't have to worry about being not in location, but still thinking in those realms of teams and circulation. You know, I hope you're going to have someone helping you.
Not yet. Okay.
So if you do end up having someone, then you can have a really clear role of like their job is essentially circulation, which you can see in the digital realm as marketing. And so they would take the finalized schedule, which are you still there?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
So they would take the schedule and the finalization of the schedule is really hard because people always want to change it last minute. So in the Google Forms, in all of your communications with everyone, be really thorough about like, please block the calendar for this day and 2 hours before, do not miss your speaking slot, like respect it as you would on the playa. Like, yeah, sure, safety third, but also this is a massive opportunity to share with the world and you've taken this up, so show up kind of thing. And have protocol about make sure you're in the room 15 minutes before, make sure your internet's working, make sure you have enough battery, make sure you're plugged in, make sure you have water there for you. Here's a link to invite all your friends and family. It's not dissimilar to the ABCs of throwing an online summit, especially when it comes to marketing and things like that. But yeah. And then once you have those protocols and like the infrastructure in place, the people you call in will have such an easy ride and the whole thing will be carried off really easy because you've architected safe infrastructure.
Awesome. I love that. I love that idea of block out your calendar, have your water ready, make sure your connection is strong and so forth.
And so, I mean, so for example, even like when I did Decentrals, we were, obviously, this was right after the boom of ICOs and everyone was into crypto and it was big. And we had a really strong policy that you will not name a coin, you will not boost a project. You know, it's the non-commodity principle of Burning Man is super important. And so how are you bringing the principles into the speaker series and also giving guidelines to the presenters? Like, hey, this isn't your normal online COVID conference. And so I would also like create massive space there for them to show up differently. And I would also give some guidelines around presenter audience interaction because the digital interface is totally different. And especially like a lot of the domestic stuff are less lectures and more experiential. And so how do you go into that online? Like this is like, I've been doing this shit online for like 3+ years. I've been doing transformational work online. And so it's so funny to me now that everyone's like waking up to it and they're like virtual retreat. And I'm like, cool. Like I've been doing this for a while and it's just, it's fun to see this world come alive. And it's so much more exciting even to bring Burning Man into it and see like, how can you bring the playa to people's homes? Something else that I would look at because it was the best online conference I've seen so far. And I really, to be honest, haven't done any for the past 2 months. But before that was Bicycle Day. Were you involved at all with Bicycle Day?
I was not.
So Bicycle Day in San Francisco, it's the anniversary of Albert Hoffman's discovery of LSD.
Awesome.
And so like the story is that he went out on a bicycle and rode around. And so people all around San Francisco normally do that, but obviously with COVID they couldn't. And so they made a virtual Bicycle Day. And I I can find out who organized it and get you in touch with them if you need, or if you have any San Francisco crowd, ask them. But it was mega. Like the entire interface of the web page was like floating, and it was like a journey, and the user experience was so amazing to view all the workshops and to be in them at different times. And then my favorite part was they had a game where it was like a video game except with real people, and so you were on this bicycle going across the San Francisco Bridge, or the Golden Gate Bridge, and then there would be someone who comes up next to you, and when they're next to you, their speaker goes on so they can hear you and you can hear them like you're hearing me now. And then when you go far enough away, the speaker automatically goes off. So just like thinking outside of the box in terms of online conferences and in terms of things like this, that, you know, you're facilitating interaction and really the spontaneity that you'd find on the playa, right? And so like that idea of it, and that's the specialness of a Burning Man conference, is how do you make this, you know, a real speaker series for the playa with like breathing the burn and the principles, which is totally different than any other conference or event that I've organized somewhere else. And so, yeah, it's that thinking outside of the box piece is really big, and it can be infrastructured or instituted through your guidelines, like your empowering guidelines. Guidelines don't have to be saturnal but they can be like, what is it that you actually want to share? They can be questions to get the speakers into that space. And as the organizer, to a certain extent, that's your responsibility, is to like, you know, set the stage. And that includes setting the stage of the speakers. And so whereas we can just have this conversation of like super simple, you know, you make a time and you find out who's scheduling and you schedule them and whatever. It's like, a speaker series on the playa is so much more than that. It's the life. And so to really harbor and facilitate that is a gift. And
you have a copy of Empowering Guidelines that you used at Bronner's, like no cryptocurrency, no promoting?
That was for Camp Decentral. I can definitely look. I'm sure it's somewhere. For Decentral, we have all our files. Yeah, for sure.
I would love to have something to go on off of that.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And I could also, if I don't have one, I can just make it or say it to you. Like that stuff comes through easy. So. Okay,
great. Super. So I'm actually going to be working on 2 different platforms. One of them is interested in like the multiverse is like the theme of this year. And there's going to be like different platforms you can experience Burning Man, which is really kind of interesting. One of them is, I think it's called Infinite Playa. If you go to infiniteplaya.com, you can see it. They're making a 3D version of Playa where you can walk around. And so you'll be able to walk into the Camp Mystic tent, and then you'll like see an avatar. I don't know how it's going to look, but you'll see an avatar, or you'll be able to like zoom in, like have a person's Zoom account like playing on your computer. Or you'll be able to walk over to the art, and you'll be able to spend as much time like on the art as you want to, which is great, because I want people to like have their own artistic experience and not like have to watch a video of the art or something like that. So that's one version. And then the Camp Mystic version, I don't know what the Mystic verse is going to look like. But I'm going to be involved in both to hopefully both speakers series work simultaneously. I don't know how that's going to work, but that'll be interesting. But I'm really excited that people will be able to like walk into like the theater, and then like walk over to the art and like be able to listen to the speaker or not, or listen to the music that's playing. I'm really, really stoked about that.
Yeah, I've been trying to remember for a while. One of my friends who works in spatial computing sent me this thing. He's like, this is what we're working on for Burning Man. And it was like back in like March when they had first announced that it was not going to happen. And I was just like floored, like the level of VR integration.
Oh, look who just got here.
Is it my brother?
That's him.
Oh, my brother. Hi, Dilly.
Hey, Amy.
How you doing? Your hair will fit. I love you.
Thank you. For this, we'll borrow our neighbors again. They're cool. Here, let me step outside. So sweet. Do you have any interest in it? I just learned about the Infinite Playa like 2 days ago, and I saw like the video and the avatar and how it's going to work. I was like, this sounds really cool. Do you have any interest in going through a guided version of that to like check out the platform?
100%. Fuck yeah. That was like only what I was going to do as soon as we got off the call.
Cool.
I didn't know it was public.
You can go to Infinite Playa and you can watch the video, and like it'll give you like you'll see someone like walking through the desert and like playing with like art stuff. When the call is scheduled, I'll let you know when that is, and he's going to walk a couple of us through the platform so we kind of
Amazing.
understand what that is. So I'll definitely let you know.
Yes.
Andy, I'm not familiar with WhatsApp. I struggled like typing in like the plus sign for like your Indian number. Is there a good like a United States number to just to?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I have a Google Voice that I can give you.
Okay. You say you don't represent Google. Do you work for the CIA and you sponsored Google?
You'll have to ask my brother.
He doesn't know. I've asked him.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
So it's an American number. It's 424-262 7628.
And then will your cell phone ring for that?
So if I'm online, it will. So I just saw a missed call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't really ring. Like it's not a way where you can like ring me. It's a better way to text me. But if I'm on my computer, I'll see it and I can call you right back. It's easy.
Okay, sweet. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to review what we got here to see if I'm missing anything. So have the days ironed out. By the way, do you like those topics? Am I missing something?
Oh yeah. No, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. As soon as you like said it, I was like, yes. And if I can find a few years ago at Africa Burn, for the speaker series there, we did a whole day. I wouldn't even call it, we did a sex day. It wasn't even love and relating. It was just like straight up sex day.
Wow.
And had everything from like opening up space for conscious conversation to definitely open relating talk. And I think a panel on open relating to like Tantra experiential in the afternoon, like just like very subtle red Tantra. And that was probably my favorite day of any series that I've ever thrown. So yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I loved all the topics you presented. I mean, it's like what fills it, right? Because you can make like the cover of a book can be anything, but then if it's not filled with like actual like vibrating, living organisms, then it just comes off as meh, because everyone's talking about futurism. Everyone's talking about health and wellness. Like every speaker series on the playa almost has the health and wellness day. And so an interesting, even like further niche curation would be, once you start to curate your speakers, find a common thread between them. And I'm super happy to help with this, where you're weaving in, maybe it's not just health and wellness. Maybe it is like self-mastery, which this is clearly coming through my filter of bias. But it's like, what do you actually want to communicate? How can you be more specific in it? Because the more specific you are with your marketing, the more it's just going to work. More people are going to show up. They're going to get exactly what they need because you told them what they were going to get, kind of thing. So
niching more, that'd be very cool. So two niches that I'm passionate about, health and wellness. Well, number one is chocolate. I don't know if chocolate would be an interesting niche to have a whole day on chocolate. But that'd be hard enough eating it, right? That really needs like a physical component to it. One is supplements, and then the other is brain health. And I feel like those are, like supplements are great because like it is the pill solution, right? It's like, I want these results and I just want to take a pill. Great. Well, like supplements are like the way to do that. And then with brain health, that's like, it's pretty forward thinking, because if we're going to live to 80 and above, we're all going to face challenges with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And working on our brain health now is like one of the best things we can do for our productivity and our quality of life today. So I think that would be a cool niche for health and wellness. What do you think?
Did my brother tell you anything about my background?
A little bit.
So I'm a naturopath, and everything I do is based on fasting, not dissimilar from Joel and his lifestyle. And I mean, Joel, like he uses lots of supplements, but my entire kind of theory institute, everything is built off of the inside job, more or less, on a mental, physical level. And so not needing to take anything from outside is of crucial importance in that. So I'm not so crazy about the supplements, but like that's my huge own bias. You know, you can take whatever you want, but if you're still dehydrated and eating shit food and, you know, not happy in your life, like whatever.
That's my food regimen. I take a really great multivitamin and I eat Twinkies and I get the calories from that. And
really?
No, I don't.
he's like, no. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a part of it. The supplement industry came just because the health and wellness industry needed to make money. So it was a capitalism driven thing. And I feel like it's a crutch. So like personally, clearly I have my own, which I've owned, what is the word? Predilections, something like that, against it.
Predilection is a natural tendency towards. I would say this is an extreme bias against, or extreme bias, or just
my non predilections.
Right.
Yeah. So, and because with the non-commercialism of Burning Man, like that as well. So I'm gonna not just present problem case, but give you solution orientation, which would be if you were to do something around plants, right? Plant day. So it's herbs, which are hopefully the base of most of your supplements, or it's plant chemicals, which maybe you're deriving for your supplements that originated in plants. Psychedelics obviously can be a part of that. And then food plants and like even like a cooking thing could be. So that would be one way to steer it, like as a reconnection with nature kind of day. So that's an idea. And then as for neuroimmunology, neurobiology, neuropsychology, like yes, I actually was just a part of a huge conference. It was like an online summit for brain health. I think I have saved some of the videos. I can send it to you, but it felt really cheap. It was a neuroscientist and I think like another, I don't know if he was a chiropractor or something. There's a lot of these biohacking people who are just like not in their body and not in tune and not in touch. And so, I mean, it's definitely like Ben Greenfield or like, oh, I don't even fucking know all these people. But like it's the in vogue thing. But I would crave for more, and this is like, again, my massive filter bias, like working in the professional field and, you know, being one of those thought leaders, who has lots of criticisms about the ignorance being spread, and acceptance of it. That it would be like instead, and so I've also, okay, instead of just like brain health, looking at like like deepening it to neuropsychology as well and biopsychology at large, where you're looking at brain health as well, but you're also looking at the things that are holding us back, because often that's so like in the same kind of trajectory of the discussion of you can have whatever supplements you want, but if you're not sleeping well or hydrated or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can like do all the precautions. You can do all the neuroaerobics of writing with your left hand and, you know, turning off the lights when you're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, or, you know, taking cold showers or whatever it is that's going to trigger your system into functioning different and better. And at the same time, if you're not aware of your traumas, right, and your coping mechanisms, which we all have, and you know, not showing up with that quality of sensitivity of what's blocking your brain from functioning optimally, then it's like only looking at one part of the picture. And the world really is ready, I think, to see both sides, the dark and the light. So yeah, so I would, again, solution proposal, bring it forward beyond brain. And this is totally my own bias because I've done it in my course, but like call it mind. And then a part of that day is neuroaerobics, and brain health and like all of the things that are great still that you're talking about or thinking about, but that it would be presented more comprehensive. So I guess what I'm saying, as I'm saying it, as I'm figuring it out, is that you took the niche cue really well and went like to the tip of the tip. And often what happens with that is then you get a bunch of people who are like doing the same thing or selling the same thing, saying it in different ways. Like that's what a normal conference would be. And I would almost give it like come up a little bit from the zoom in to go somewhere in the middle where you get to have more of a theme that will allow for more organic inclusion. An example of that would be when I was doing the speaker series for Decentral. It was self-sovereignty. I was like, cool guys, I'm not willing to throw a crypto conference. I'm not willing to just have people come and talk about crypto. I am super willing to talk about self-sovereignty and have that be in health and wellness, to have that be in seed saving, to have that be in cryptocurrency and fintech. And so kind of like spreading it, still having your focus, which is the theme of decentralization at large, but then branching self-sovereignty out into all areas. And so if you had like a theme for every day and then that was your focus, but then you branched out to have different perspectives on the same thing. And Joel can probably talk to you about this. I mean, his last year of university was at Evergreen State College, where they had one class. And then in that class, they looked at it from a bunch of different angles. And this is just holistic learning at large.
Very cool.
That's my spiel.
That's your spiel? Do it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And how about contacting people? So if I wanted to get like Ben Greenfield, or if I wanted to get like some big name people in different industries, I mean, it'd be cool to get Deepak Chopra. He's probably sitting at home during Burning Man. He might have an hour in his schedule, right? How do you have any recommendation on how to contact these people, reach out to these people, get through gatekeeping?
Yeah. I mean, I was presenting on a group ceremony call with Deepak about a month ago. And he just like popped in the Zoom room and I was like, this is weird. And he was also like, meh. Like, I mean, the big names, of course, they bring people in. And it depends if you want to play that game. So I'll go meta for you and then I'll answer your question. Sure. In your marketing and your advertising, right? You either have like, oh, look at these big names. And like, I've done that before, yeah. And it's okay, when Jamie Wheel's in a room or when Jason Silva's in a room or when Rick Doblin's in a room or when Paul Stamets. I fucking had 300 people in the dome that fit 150 comfortably, 300 people waiting outside, like the Rangers on my ass, because it's like the name attracts. Yeah. And you want to see also what kind of plan this is. Like a non-corporate Zoom or whatever only allows 100 participants. So like thinking actually in terms of numbers, even though you don't have an actual dome where you're thinking about people and numbers, like it's still digitally, what is your cap? Like Crowdcast has 1,000, I think. And so that's a question if you're going to lead with a name. And in one way, on a meta level, it has the ability or potential to cheapen the content because you've gone after the name. In another way, it will bring more people in. So all of the names that are not big names will get to have a bigger audience. So it's like, neither here nor there. So that's what I would say. For contacting them, it's essentially just network stuff. Like my network has grown because of this, for sure, because of creating speaker series, but also because of the circles that I'm in, that I do always feel like I'm 1 or 2 Facebook posts away from contacting whomever I want. So yeah, I mean, someone are always knows someone. So it's just a matter of asking, and asking in a public sphere. Like when you make a Facebook post on your wall, people want to show up good to say, oh man, I can hook you up,? And so it's like, there's this like social game that humans play, with our primate brains to try to do that. And that can definitely lead you places. And so another thing that I think I got to before, but didn't fully vet out was that, when you're doing an open call for speakers and you receive tons of applications, and of course it's different virtually than it is at the Playa, although I think it's just going to be as popular, because a lot of people want to speak at the Playa, especially if it's one of their first years of Burning Man. Like after their first years, they're like, fuck, I'm over it. I'm not doing anything where that involves responsibility. Then sometimes the open call is with like a lot of people who are early in their coaching career, earlier in their whatever, and they just want a stage to share. And that doesn't mean what they're sharing is invaluable or whatever, but they're not this like masterful commander who does this full time. And when you're throwing a top tier speaker series, you really want someone who's either in the heart of it. So like the researchers that I had present at Bronner's last year for the psychedelic speaker series, a lot of them, like they don't often give public talks. And so they're not great public speakers. But otherwise, like if you have an amazing public speaker, like it was a huge part of my full-time job was public speaking. And so that quality of engagement, like the idiosyncrasies that that person will have, just lifts up to such a different level the entire series. And so that quality of curation. So yeah, that was all a tail end on your question of how do you reach the big names. But
sounds like I reached the big names by asking you to make 2 Facebook posts. That sounds like the fact.
I mean, I would have to, like, everything I do is like so integrity, and I have really strong whatever morals. So like I would have to want the people or agree with them. But yeah, I'd be happy to.
Matthew Day is not in my Go Trump Go Day. Those aren't going to be good speaker series. Are going to help me promote.
No. Yeah, no, I mean, like if you wanted to find Deepak, for example, I would like consider it. I'd feel into it. I'd maybe pick some cards and like see, and then I'd be like, all right, I'll try to reach out for Deepak. But like, he's not someone who I would be like, yes, let's get Deepak. Like, that's not at all. I mean, I think what he's done in the world is great. I don't think that he needs more screen time is what I think I want to say.
Okay.
And
cool to get Oprah. She's just
I'd fucking love. I was just chasing Oprah in Maui for a while. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is why, right? What is your why? Like, what is the, like, why does Oprah need to be speaking in the Mystic tent? You know, and that's when like the Burning Man principles really come forward, because it's like, what are we actually doing here? So yeah, I mean, you give it some thought about who you want. You give it some thought about what slots you want. That's really important. How many actual speaking times there will be.
Like usually it's like 6 hours a day. We'll do speakers. We'll have like 5 or 6 different speakers. I like 40 speaking, 20 minutes for questions and changeover. I think that's great. That makes things easy. Is 6 speakers? Is that a pretty legit?
So Robert, the wall that you're going to run up to, which is my life, which not many Americans kind of conceptualize, is time zones. I mean, you're going from New Zealand to Hawaii, which is impossible to satisfy in 6 hours, any 6 hours. And so it's also...
Oh, so the idea that people are going to be hopping into Burning Man all 24 hours a day, and they're going to be awake and alive all 24 hours a day. Yeah, see, I wasn't even considering doing it past like, what are the, like, what would be the actual time in Nevada?
Well, so this is your question of who you're curating for. So there's so many Swedish burners and Israeli burners and, you know, South African burners that would love to be at your series. And are you making it available to them based upon the time zones you're choosing? So it's like these kinds of questions.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, I mean, like this course that I established my institute last year, and I've been teaching an 18-month, like full-on transformation course. And I have 19 students representing 16 different countries. And so this is like, these are the things that I'm facing every single day. And my advice from doing this now for 6 months would be to jump the Atlantic overnight, which would mean that you would be doing like evening Colorado time.
Okay.
And then you're pretty much going to get the next day, early morning Europe, midday Middle East, and afternoon Australia.
So my thought is like, you know, since Burning Man is 24/7, that people will be going to dance parties at night, like for example, Infinite Playa is going to be dark at night. I'm guessing it's going to be dark at night, and people are going to be walking around, and they're going to be like seeing people driving around on bicycles with lights, and they're like going to be checking out art projects and DJs. Like there's going to be music everywhere at night on the playa. And so I didn't thought about curating speakers then. I was just going to have the Camp Mystic Theater with the art then, and then have music then, and then we'll probably do our Wednesday night party we usually do a Wednesday night party from like 10 until, I don't know, sunrise. So that was my thought. And so you said jump to the Atlantic overnight. I got lost a little bit there in part because I was moving.
Okay, so what I mean is if you're doing a 6-hour time slot, do it from, let's say, Colorado time, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., that kind of thing. And then that's going to be a good, like, British summertime would be 5 a.m. to, or something like that. Maybe it'll be even earlier, 4:30. Maybe that's too early. So maybe you do 6 p.m. Colorado to 12, and then it's early morning Europe, or you even do 8 p.m. And then, I mean, you're losing some of the East Coast people, but then at least you give an opportunity to Europeans to show up. That's what I think I would recommend is like second part of the day. And then another idea could be if you want to go in the morning, midday, and afternoon. Like if you don't want it to be one condensed 6 hour, that's definitely harder for you, much harder to organize, but it gives more people opportunities to walk in more organically.
Having speakers go as late as 12 p.m. my time.
So the other thing is you have to expand your speakers out. So on your love and relating day, I'm going to throw Rachel and Booster in from Embodied Intimacy, who are one of the leading couples in the world in open relating.
Cool.
And who, they normally teach at Naked Heart. And one year they taught 15 workshops on the playa. I couldn't believe it. Who does that? They're amazing. And so, like throwing them on, they're in Sweden right now. And so when you say who's going to speak at 12 p.m., for them, it's like 10 a.m. and it's a good time. So thinking more globally in terms of the planning.
Okay. And so ordinarily speaker series on the playa would start something around 2 p.m. West Coast time, right?
No, I mean, I've run stuff. You have a lot of movement classes in the morning, right? So 9 or 10 a.m. I've run stuff from 11 a.m., 12. And like, I know the flow of traffic when people come and when they don't. And then, but definitely by 1 or 2 is normally when speaker series starts. But I've thrown midnight sessions before, midnight and 1 a.m. sessions, like candlelight fireside chats or something we call them. And they were pretty popular because it's the playa. But I don't know how much people are going to be, they're fucking at home. They can actually sleep during Burning Man.
That'll be amazing. Fireside, was the ghost of FDR at your fireside chats?
No, Daniel Pinchback was. Maybe he's the ghost of FDR.
Is he good? I've met him and I watched his documentary. Is he pretty good to have in the speaker series?
Yeah, Daniel's a great speaker. Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I have other people as well. I've been working with Daniel on a few projects over the COVID time. I have lots of ideas and people I can send you. Like I can fill your schedule in literally 20 minutes.
Great.
No, but like I know that not only you, but like Mystic, I'm sure they have people that they want on that schedule. Like I've seen your schedule year after year. There are people who normally speak who are going to want to be a part of the series. And intuitively, I feel like you're going to reach that point where 6 hours a day is not going to suffice. Like having 30 sessions isn't enough. That you're going to want more.
I also get two venues. Like there's the theater, and then there's potential the Healing Dome. The Healing Dome would be more the movement stuff.
Yeah.
The interactive stuff. So like on the day of love and relationships, the theater could be talking about communication and love and relationship stuff, and then you could have just like sex workshops in the Healing Dome. However,
that's going to be so interesting to do virtual sex workshops. Oh my God, I'm so in. That's wow. Yeah, totally. Yes, so that gives you a little more space.
Yeah.
Doing The healing, I mean, I would like steer away from guided yoga classes or things like that, or even guided dance experiences, because there's just so much of that. And obviously you have the Wednesday night party already for dance. And I'll be so excited for David and Elijah.
So, hopefully David Block is going to be on this call with Infinite Playa, because he's organizing the Wednesday night party, and he'll be.
Yeah, for sure.
Movement. Do you recommend not doing movement instead of doing yoga and things like that?
What I mean is that there's so much out there. There's so much out there right now. Like there's YouTube channel. If someone wants to take a fucking yoga class, they're going to do it. Unless there is some kind of VR component to it, where on Infinite Playa, they get to look over. And this is what I was talking about with the spatial computing, that with your VR goggles and with this integration, I mean, you need a haptic suit for it. So I don't think it's going to be checked out for Burning Man this year. But whatever my friend was designing, you like look over and you're going to see someone who's in Seattle doing down dog next to you with their VR. Like that's next level. That's when stuff really becomes next level. So that would be the only time or place I would say to do movement classes, or somehow if you could drop ship 3D cameras to people. And they're not surprisingly that expensive, and they not 3D, sorry, 360 cameras. And then you can have a 360 experience of being in a room with the teacher. Like that could be cool, but it's still like why, there's still the why to it. So yeah, just because it's cool isn't enough, especially for a speaker series. And that's what I mean by Deepak Chopra or Oprah. What I'm really trying to say is that, like, what experience is it creating for people? It just being cool isn't enough. That Burning Man is a transformational venue. And a really powerful example that I give to this, because it's so simple, is the interactivity of, I don't know if you remember, I think it was 2 years ago, there was the mirrors, maybe you've probably seen them, where it's an inverted mirror. So you look at your face and you see an inversion of what you normally see in a mirror. And like, if you're talking about brain aerobics, like it drives you mad. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I can conceptualize what it is that you're talking about.
So there was like a mobile display of this. It was right by Mystic, maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years ago. And that kind of thing, where it's interactive, it has value. It's definitely cool, but like it makes someone walk away with a sense of self-inquiry that, like that's the pulse of the playa that we're here to propagate as speaker series organizers.
Fabulous. Andy, thank you so much. This is super duper helpful. This is it's so nice to e-meet.
Yeah.
So I will keep in touch about when the Infinite Playa walkthrough is.
I would love that.
And this week I'm reaching out to the Mystics who did apply or reach out saying, yeah, I want to teach some stuff.
Yeah.
Check in there. And then I'm going to check in with Evan Pagan, who's the one who commissioned that art, who's a very well-known internet marketer, and see recommendations on speak on some of these topics. And then I'd love to get with you. And then here's how this is shaping up. I'd love your insight onto who would be a great speaker to talk on.
Totally. And I think a good action item for that, if it's easy for you and if it feels in flow, otherwise ignore, is if you like think a little bit about the themes, the days, the niche, that whole conversation, fill in all of the Mystic people, see how many slots you have left, and like in 1, 2, 3 I could get you like really top notch, and I don't say top notch in terms of name, but top notch in terms of what they're presenting and how it's being presented.
What about the name? I just
want no problem.
The quality is much less important to me than looking cool.
Yeah. Cool. Good. You picked up on my bias there. I mean, we can still get a few names. Jamie Wheel and Jason Silva are now staples on my series, so like, and they attract a lot of the play audience. And Paul would be happy to speak as well if you wanted. I don't know actually what's happening on the playa this year. I've been very disconnected from the speaker series, and normally I know Red Lightning's coming again. Like normally I'm involved in like 2 or 3 different speaker series and helping. So it's, yeah, I'm so excited to have any playa connection, and I'm always excited about these series.
I'm excited and grateful to have your help and support. This is really great.
Yay!
Fabulous. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through the past speaker series and see who would be a good fit for this. And then can you send me examples of Google Forms? And what was the other thing? It was a Google form, and then
the speaker kind of guideline.
Yeah.
I'll look for those now. I'll see what I have, and if I don't, I can make.
Don't sell your shit, motherfucker.
Yeah. Super important. So important.
Very cool.
Yay.
Awesome.
And yeah, and I mean the work around that, which is also really cool, is like I lead an online fasting program every month. And so I think like the past few years or whatever, I pitched it and I said, here, take my card. This is your gift. I will gift you this program. Okay. Come for free.
Nice.
So it's that kind of thing. So that you can work into the guidelines too, to make it non-commercial, where it is gifting.
They want to give away their program, they can give away their program.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That sounds cool. And I'm sure people would appreciate hopefully people would appreciate the follow-up of, oh great, I get to like go deeper on this topic with this person.
Yeah.
Great.
As long as it's not like a cheap, like, here's my 6-page ebook on how to drink water. You know, like,
that's a great idea. Oh my gosh, I could totally write 6 pages on how to drink water. I would sell the shit out of it too.
So like, as long as it's like a gift of value, like my fasting program's like, I don't know, $350. So it's like it's a significant gift, you know? So it's like, you could invite speakers to be able to give something of true value where it does feel like they're gifting. That's the stipulation. The speakers should feel like they're actually gifting something, not like this is my cheap extra that doesn't cost me anything.
I want that ebook on water. I would totally read 6 pages on water and how to drink it.
Maybe I'll write it.
That like water at a certain temperature gets absorbed faster. I used to think water was absorbed faster, but it turns out that water between 55 and 70 degrees gets absorbed fastest. So I drink my morning water at like 60 degrees. So I add like ice to it, and it moves through my body so much faster. Like it starts my day so much faster than drinking like warm water that's like been out overnight.
That's interesting. I would love to see the clinical studies on that.
Try it yourself. Take the temperature of your water and drink like a glass of water that's like 60 degrees and compare it to how you feel. Like hot water, like when I drink like hot tea at night, it would sit in my stomach and it would feel like uncomfortable. But if I would drink cold water at night, it would like move through faster. And so I'd be able to sleep better. So that 6-page ebook on water sounds really, really
so funny. I mean, the irony of it is that no two water is ever the same. Water is such a living organism that you could never do a controlled experiment. Alas, that's what we have Nikolai for. He's one of my favorite water researchers, the Water Bridge in Denmark. He's doing research on water's intelligence. So like things like that would be worth it. You know, you could do a fucking day on water on the playa. See, like that's health and wellness to the next level.
What's today's topic? Water. We're just talking about water. The stuff.
Fucking talking about water. How to do it, where to drink it. Yeah, I mean, right here, I'll show you. Hopefully Matt won't mind. There's a hydrotherapy set up right there. You see that giant trash can?
Yeah.
So he fills that with hot water and then jumps inside of it. Not dissimilar to Joel's obsession with the hot tub.
Joel does like the hot tub.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but totally hydrotherapy, like that as a theme for a day instead of having health and wellness.
Yeah.
Talking about hydrotherapy, you know, and then you're breaching into the biohacking, you're breaching into the brain health, you're breaching into everything you just said about water. And then the 6-page ebook clearly is like this document.
Clearly this is a massive value. It's going to be an Amazon bestseller overnight.
And well, that's the thing. I mean, when you have a really well curated series, because well curated isn't only the inclusion of who's in it, it's how the content's woven so that someone doesn't get up from their seat.
Yeah. And
everything builds upon the next thing, and they're just like, and everything's timed at the right day. You know, you don't do sex on the first day. You do it once people are eased into it a little bit. Yeah. And also the the assumption that people will be there for the entirety of it is a huge assumption to make, because it's the playa. So people are going to be like splashing in for a 10-minute peek at one thing. But to still design it in that way, that's a journey, because the beautiful thing is that you'll have it as a living document afterwards, that it is like mystic archives of here's our speaker series. And whether that's a mystic YouTube channel that starts or whatever it is, we did that last year for the psychedelic speaker series. Like, it's a full podcast and YouTube. And
I'd love to learn more about that, because I totally want to not productize, but I do want to like capture this as a way to
totally
value for people in the future. I'd love to make a podcast, YouTube state, whatever will be of greatest value. I would love your thoughts on how to do that.
I mean, my intuitive, and I can send you, like, I'm all about collaboration now. There's far too much personal branding, and it's kind of toxifying most of the forward thinking health, wellness, enlightenment philosophies. And to do more collaboration. So I would see if Burning Man is doing a multiverse podcast or multiverse YouTube. And then the Mystic is like, I don't know what they call it in YouTube. It's like a playlist or a section or whatever on that.
Okay. Fabulous. Andy, thank you so much. This was way too much fun for us to be helping transform the world. This was just awesome.
Very good. Thank you. I enjoyed it thoroughly as well. Reach out for anything and I will get you the 2 documents. I'll do that right now.
Fabulous. Have a good day.
All right.
See you soon.
Bye, Robert.